Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a plunge, a real deep dive into some truly breathtaking man-made wonders. You know, the kind that just make you stop and stare.
Absolutely. We're drawing from a great source too, a video script called Top 20 Most Incredible Man-Made Wonders. It was originally put together for the YouTube channel Travlio.
Yeah, and what I found really cool about this Travlio list is the way it's structured. It's a countdown, right? From 20 down to number 1.
Exactly. It builds that anticipation.
It does, and it promises to show us the most searched, most visited, kind of the biggest icons out there globally.
It's a really compelling way to look at it, a curated journey, you could say. It really highlights the sheer scale of human ingenuity, you know, the artistic ambition across so many different times and cultures.
Right. So let's get into it. Let's unpack this amazing countdown and maybe uncover some surprising bits along the way.
Sounds great. Where do we start? Number 20.
Number 20. We're heading to the coast of Normandy in France, Mont Saint-Michel. It's that amazing tidal island, you see it in pictures, crowned by the medieval abbey.
Instantly recognizable.
Totally. A pilgrimage site, way back since the 8th century. But what's often missed is just how clever they had to be to build and, well, keep a community going there with those crazy tides.
Oh, definitely. Those tides are some of the highest in Europe. So the medieval builders, they weren't just building like walls and pretty architecture.
Sure.
They needed incredibly smart drainage, foundations that could literally take a beating from the sea day in, day out.
Wow.
It's a real blend of, you know, natural landscape and human construction, a testament to just how resilient architecture can be, and maybe even a kind of early environmental engineering, really.
Okay, from the tides of France, number 19 takes us somewhere completely different, like one of the most remote spots on Earth, Easter Island.
Rapa Nui, part of Chile now, yeah.
Home of the moai statues. These huge stone figures, sometimes like 10 meters tall, carved by the Rapa Nui people. And the big question mark is still, how? How do they make them? How do they move them? It kind of blows my mind.
It does. And, you know, it's not just the how, it's also why some seem to be just abandoned mid-transport. And what does that enormous effort tell us about their society, their organization, maybe even their environmental limits before things decline?
Right, that decline is a big part of the story too, isn't it? The human cost, the environmental cost, maybe.
Well, many theories suggest just that. Think about the wood needed. Deforestation to likely use log rollers to move these massive statues probably hit the island's ecosystem pretty hard.
Makes sense.
And that possibly combined with, you know, a conflict between groups might have led to the collapse of their society, leaving these incredible statues as, well, silent witnesses to both amazing achievement and ultimately maybe unsustainable practices.
A powerful thought. Okay, number 18. We're landing in China. The Terracotta Warriors.
Ah, yes. An incredible discovery.
Absolutely staggering. Found in 1974, right? An entire army buried with China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. We're talking like 8,000 life-sized clay soldiers.
And the detail.
Exactly. Each one is apparently unique. Different faces, armor, everything. All meant to guard him in the afterlife.
And what's really astonishing there, beyond just the sheer number, is it shows this early kind of industrial scale artistry. Think about it. They likely used standardized molds for, say, bodies and limbs.
Oh, interesting. Like mass production.
Sort of, yeah. Modular production. But then individual artists would customize the faces, the hair, the little details on the armor, so you get this blend of efficiency and unique artistry. It really speaks volumes about Qin Shi Huang's power and his vision for, well, eternity.
Okay, number 17. Back to Europe. London, England. Tower Bridge.
An icon.
Totally iconic. Finished in 1894, a real jewel of Victorian engineering. It's clever, too. Combines a suspension bridge and a bascule bridge.
Yeah.
The bits that lift up.
Right, so the tall ships could pass through.
Exactly. Still a massive symbol for London today.
Yeah. And think about building that in the heart of London, over the Thames, without stopping all the vital river traffic back then. It wasn't just about mixing bridge types. It was about making them work together perfectly, opening quickly. They used a revolutionary hydraulic system for the time.
Hydraulics, wow.
Yeah, it needed incredible precision, loads of planning, just to keep one of the busiest ports in the world running while they built this massive thing. Functional beauty, really.
Okay, number 16 takes us across the Atlantic. Toronto, Canada, the CN Tower.
Oh yeah, very recognizable.
Built in 76. And get this, it was the world's tallest freestanding structure for 32 years.
That's a long reign.
It is. Now it's, a Canadian landmark. Got the glass floors, the edge walk thing where you walk around the outside.
Thrilling, I imagine.
If you're brave enough.
Well, the CN Tower really shows that that modern drive for height in the cities, doesn't it? But it also shows how these things evolve. It started mainly as a communications tower, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh. But its success as a tourist spot kind of transformed it. It became this multi-purpose icon, a great example of a structure finding new life, staying relevant.
So we've seen structures built for history, defense, pure height, but sometimes the ambition is more spiritual or maybe about national identity.
Right, like reaching for the heavens or making a statement on the world stage.
Exactly. So let's dive into numbers 15 down to 11. This next batch feels very much about spiritual centers and powerful global symbols.
Sounds good. Where are we starting?
Number 15 takes us to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the Petronas Twin Towers.
Ah, instantly recognizable. Held the title of world's tallest for a while.
They did, from 98 to 2004, just massive, 452 meters. And the design, it really echoes Islamic architecture, a huge symbol of Malaysia's economic boom.
And that architectural echo is key. It's a great example of how modern skyscrapers can consciously weave in cultural heritage. That 8-pointed star motif you see in the floor plan, that's a classic symbol in Islamic art representing unity, stability. So it gives the towers a very specific identity that's both modern and deeply rooted in Malaysian culture and tradition.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, number 14. We are going high, literally. Lhasa, Tibet. The Potala Palace.
An extraordinary place.
The altitude alone is incredible, 3,700 meters. It used to be the Dalai Lama's winter home until 1959. And inside, over 1,000 rooms. It's really the spiritual heart of Tibetan Buddhism.
And that physical height, it's not just a number. It's deeply tied to its spiritual meaning, being closer to the heavens. But imagine building something that vast, that complex, at that altitude, often in harsh conditions without modern cranes and tech.
The logistics must have been insane.
Almost unimaginable. The sheer human effort, the determination involved, it's profound.
Okay, next up, number 13. We're in Vatican City, St. Peter's Basilica.
Ah, Titan of the Renaissance.
Completed in 1626, believed to be built right over St. Peter's tomb. You've got Michelangelo's dome, Bernini's incredible square out front. It's the absolute center of the Catholic world.
It really is. It's this amazing meeting point of art, faith, and centuries of human devotion and, sheer creative genius. Michelangelo's dome wasn't just beautiful. It pushed engineering limits, influencing dome designs for centuries after. And Bernini's square. It literally looks like arms reaching out to embrace the faithful, creating this huge, welcoming, but still awe-inspiring space. It's masterfully done.
Right. Number 12 takes us to Istanbul, Turkey. Hagia Sophia.
A building with such a layered history.
Unbelievably layered. Built way back in 537 AD as a Byzantine cathedral. Then it became a mosque, then a museum for a long time, and now it's a mosque again.
Right.
And inside that huge dome, the mosaics, you see this blend of Christian and Islamic history right there in the walls.
And that's what's so captivating. It physically embodies these complex histories, this cultural mixing. Those Byzantine mosaics, for instance, they were covered up with plaster when it first became a mosque, then uncovered when it was a museum. Now some are covered again. You can literally read the history empires rising and falling, faiths interacting, just by looking at the architecture and the art. It's unique.
Truly unique. Okay, rounding out this part, number 11. Everyone knows this one. Paris, France. The Eiffel Tower.
The symbol of Paris.
Absolutely. Built for the 1889 World's Fair. And surprisingly, people hated it at first.
Hard to imagine now, isn't it?
Totally. But it definitely won everyone over became the city's most loved icon, draws, over 7 million people a year now?
And it's a perfect example of how something can overcome that initial, what is this thing, reaction. People thought it was ugly, just this iron lattice structure.
Yeah, very industrial for the time.
Exactly. But eventually, that raw engineering, its sheer novelty, came to be seen as elegant in its own way. It proved that something functional, something industrial, could have its own kind of beauty. It actually changed how people looked at design.
That's a great point. Okay, so we've seen transformations, spiritual centers. Now let's shift again. Thinking about structures that just blow you away with their scale, their age, or just pure artistic brilliance.
Ancient wonders, artistic masterpieces.
Yeah. Let's get into numbers 10 down to 6.
Okay.
Start in this section at number 10. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Christ the Redeemer.
Watching over the city.
That massive 30-meter statue of Jesus, unveiled in 1931, standing right on top of Mount Corcovado. It's a huge symbol for Brazilian Christianity, obviously, but the views, just wow. Panoramic views of Rio.
And that's part of its genius, isn't it? How it works with the landscape. It uses that dramatic setting, the bay, the mountains, the city below, to amplify its impact, both spiritually and culturally.
Right. It makes the view itself part of the experience.
Exactly. It turns an amazing viewpoint into something more profound, a symbol of identity you can see from almost anywhere in Rio.
Okay, number 9. We're off to Cambodia, Angkor Wat.
Incredible.
Built in the 12th century by the Khmer king Suryavarman II. It's actually the world's largest religious structure.
Okay.
Started Hindu, then became Buddhist. The carvings, the symmetry, it's just breathtaking.
It truly shows the sophistication of the ancient Khmer Empire. It's not just the amazing carvings telling Hindu stories. Think about the engineering involved. The huge moat, the reservoirs, this massive hydraulic system allowed a huge city to thrive there.
Water management was key.
Absolutely. It's this fusion of, deep spiritual belief, incredible artistic skill, and really advanced engineering for its time. That's what makes Angkor Wat so special.
Okay, number 8. High up in the Andes in Peru, Machu Picchu.
The famous lost city of the Incas.
Exactly. 15th century Inca city, hidden away for ages, abandoned during the Spanish conquest, rediscovered in 1911.
Yeah.
You see the terraced hillsides and the stonework. It's unbelievable how precise it is.
The Inca were masters at building in difficult mountain terrain. That stonework, often done without mortar, fits so perfectly. Those interlocking blocks actually make the buildings incredibly resistant to earthquakes.
No way. That far back.
Absolutely. Vital in a place that gets earthquakes. It shows this deep understanding of geology, of how structures need to move and hold together.
That's incredible. Without modern tools, it's hard to grasp. What about water up there?
Just as clever. They build these sophisticated channels, fountains, to bring spring water into the city, distribute it, and manage drainage on those steep slopes. They really had mastered their environment.
Amazing. Okay, number 7. Back to Europe. Rome, Italy. The Colosseum.
Can't have a list like this without the Colosseum.
Definitely not. Commissioned around 70 AD, this place could hold, 50,000 people?
At least, yeah. For gladiator games, public shows.
The elliptical shape, the underground chambers where they kept animals and gladiators. Just pure Roman engineering genius.
And it wasn't just about the spectacle inside, it was a masterclass in handling huge crowds. Think about it, 80 different entrance arches. They could get 50,000 people in and out in probably under 15 minutes.
Seriously, that fast.
Yeah. That level of organization, just for entertainment, tells you so much about Roman society and their architectural skill.
Wow. Okay, number 6. Often called the greatest symbol of love in the world, the Taj Mahal in Agra, India.
Truly stunning.
This incredible white marble mausoleum, built by Emperor Shah Jahan starting around 1632, took over 20 years, all in memory of his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal.
And it really shows how powerful emotions like grief and love can inspire such monumental creation. It's not just the beauty, though, the perfect symmetry, the way the marble seems to shift color with the light.
I've heard about that.
Those were deliberate choices, meant to reflect, maybe, the changing moods of Mumtaz Mahal herself. It's like architecture is poetry, expressing love and loss in stone.
Beautifully put. All right, we are entering the top 5. The absolute pinnacle, according to this Travlio list. Structures that really push the boundary.
The best of the best. Let's hear them.
Number 5, the Forbidden City. Beijing, China. Built starting in 1420. This was the imperial palace for centuries for the Ming and Qing emperors. It is just huge. The largest palace complex on Earth, apparently. over 900 buildings.
And the scale isn't just about size. It's about reflecting imperial power through incredibly detailed planning and symbolism. Everything from the color of the roof tiles to the number of little figures on the eaves followed strict rules based on cosmology and hierarchy.
So it was all deeply symbolic.
Deeply. It was a city within a city, designed from the ground up to reinforce the emperor's absolute, even divine, authority.
Incredible. Number 4 takes us to Jordan, Petra.
Ah, the Rose City.
Exactly. Founded around 300 BC as the Nabatean capital. What makes it so stunning are those buildings, like the famous treasury, carved directly out of the pinkish lead cliffs.
That rock-cut architecture is just breathtaking, how they integrated these huge facades right into the natural rock. But the Nabateans weren't just amazing carvers. They were also brilliant water engineers.
In the desert.
Precisely. They created these complex systems of cisterns, channels, dams to capture and manage scarce rainwater. That's what allowed Petra to thrive, to become this major trading hub in such a dry, arid place. Master hydrologists.
Wow, carving and water mastery. Okay, number 3, and this is interesting, it's a repeat. St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City is back again.
Oh, that is interesting. So it appeared earlier at number 13.
Yeah, it was 13 before.
Well, that really hammers home its massive significance, doesn't it? Its first mention probably focused on its Renaissance art and architecture, Michelangelo's dome, its grandeur.
Right.
Seeing it again this high up at number 3 maybe emphasizes its role as more than just a building. Perhaps its status as a living, breathing spiritual epicenter, a global pilgrimage site, its enduring symbolism. It suggests multiple layers of wonder. It's quite something for one place to rank so highly, twice on the same list.
It really is. Undeniable importance, I guess. Okay, moving on. Number 2, an absolute giant of engineering and sheer human effort, the Great Wall of China.
Just the scale of it.
Mind-boggling. Stretching over 21,000 kilometers, built across centuries, obviously, to defend against invasions. Most of the bits we see today are from the Ming Dynasty, right?
That's right. And it's such an awe-inspiring feat of, everything scale, endurance, strategic thinking. But it's important to remember it's not just one single wall. It's more like a massive network of fortifications, walls, watchtowers, fortresses, built using different materials too, depending on the local terrain. Rammed earth in some places, stone or brick in others. Imagine the logistics, the manpower, building that across mountains, deserts, over millennia.
Unbelievable. And that brings us to number 1, the top spot on the Travlio list. The undisputed champion, the pyramids of Giza in Egypt.
Of course, the icon of icons.
What makes them truly unique, apart from everything else, is they're the only wonder of the ancient world that's still standing. The Great Pyramid, Khufu's pyramid, built around 2580 BC.
Stood as the tallest man-made structure for almost 4,000 years.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Made of over 2 million massive stone blocks. And the precision. Even today, engineers are apparently still puzzled by how they achieved it.
They really are. Think about this. The base of the Great Pyramid is leveled to within just a couple of centimeters across its entire huge area, and its sides are aligned almost perfectly with north, south, east, west.
How?
That's the million-dollar question. Achieving that level of accuracy, that astronomical and geometric precision on that scale without modern tools, that's the enduring mystery. It points to an incredible understanding of mathematics, engineering, and their place in the cosmos. Truly unparalleled.
Wow. What a journey. From Mont Saint-Michel all the way to the pyramids of Giza. An incredible deep dive through these just astounding achievements.
It really is. And what strikes me looking back the whole list is how these structures across thousands of years, different cultures, they all show this fundamental human drive. The drive to build, to create, to worship, to defend, sometimes just to reach higher.
Yeah, to innovate.
Exactly. Each one is like a physical manifestation of the dreams, the beliefs, and sometimes the sheer unbelievable capabilities of the people who built them, often pushing right up against the limits of what anyone thought was possible back then.
So, for you listening, trying to take all this in, what's the big takeaway?
I think it's seeing beyond just the stones or the steel. It's about understanding the stories behind them, the beliefs that drove their creation, the ingenious engineering that made them possible. You really get a sense that each one represents a peak moment, a high point of its time, often doing things we still find amazing today. It just expands your sense of human potential, doesn't it?
It really does. So this deep dive, sparked by that fascinating countdown from the Travlio channel, it leaves us with a question, maybe a challenge for you. If you had to add a 21st wonder to this list, something built in our century, what would it be? What modern creation captures that same spirit of awe and ingenuity?
That's a great question to ponder.
Definitely something to think about. And, as the Travlio channel itself encourages its viewers, if you enjoyed this exploration, check out their channel. They suggest liking, commenting, subscribing for more videos, diving into the wonders of our world. It really shows how these lists get us all curious and wanting to explore more.